The story begins with an ancient Amazon legend about a magical tree known as the Tears of the Moon. It was said that a single petal from its flower could heal any wound and lift any curse. For centuries, countless explorers searched for the tree, but none were more famous than the Spanish conquistador Sam. Determined to claim its power, Sam and his men ventured deep into the dangerous Amazon rainforest. After nearly dying in the jungle, Sam was rescued by its true guardians. Once he recovered, he demanded the arrowhead, a sacred artifact believed to be the key to finding the magical tree. When the guardians refused, Sam attacked them. His greed brought a terrible punishment. Sam and his men were cursed, condemned to remain trapped within the Amazon River region forever. The story then shifts to the present day, where a man named Bill is presenting this legend to a scholarly society. Using a map, he explains that if they can obtain the arrowhead, they can launch an expedition to find the Tears of the Moon. However, the speech was actually written by his sister, Lily, who is secretly standing above the audience and reciting every line along with him. Lily quickly realizes that Bill will never convince the society to hand over the artifact. Deciding to take matters into her own hands, she sneaks through the society's corridors while Bill distracts everyone. Following a map, she reaches the artifact storage room. To avoid suspicion, she changes into men's clothing before searching through the crates. Eventually, she finds the arrowhead and steals it. At that exact moment, Prince Joachim arrives in the room with one of the society members. It turns out he is also searching for the arrowhead. When they open the crate and discover it missing, Joachim immediately notices Lily attempting to escape. He orders his men to capture her. A frantic chase follows through the building. Lily uses her intelligence and agility to evade everyone pursuing her. Eventually, she encounters Joachim himself and is forced out a library window. Luckily, she grabs onto a ladder outside. Joachim then loosens the rope holding the ladder, causing her to swing dangerously farther away. He offers to help her if she hands over the arrowhead. Without saying a word, Lily tosses him the box and then jumps into a bus that Bill has conveniently stopped for her. When Joachim opens the box, he discovers that the arrowhead is not inside. Furious, he learns Lily's identity and kills everyone present in his rage. Sometime later, Lily and Bill prepare for an expedition to the Amazon. They firmly believe that the magical tree could provide cures for countless deadly diseases. Their route is planned, but they still need one thing: a captain capable of guiding them deep into the Amazon River. Meanwhile, deep in the Amazon, tourists enjoy a river cruise aboard an old and seemingly dangerous boat. The captain, Frank, is a charismatic trickster who makes a living convincing visitors that everything in the Amazon wants to kill them. He stages elaborate stunts and even pays a local tribe to help create the illusion of deadly adventures, allowing him to charge higher prices. At the same time, Lily and Bill arrive in a small settlement on the edge of the Amazon, where Frank operates his business. Unbeknownst to them, Joachim's men are already following their trail. Excited about her mission, Lily immediately begins searching for a guide. Her attention is focused on a man named Nilo, who appears to own most of the boats at the docks. Elsewhere, Nilo confronts Frank about a debt. Since Frank cannot pay him back, Nilo removes the engine from Frank's boat and locks it away, promising to return it only after the debt is settled. Soon afterward, Lily and Bill split up to search for Nilo. Lily arrives at Nilo's office, but instead finds Frank secretly breaking in. His goal is to steal the key needed to retrieve his boat's engine. When Lily arrives, Frank quickly pretends to be Nilo. Believing him, Lily explains that she needs transportation to a specific location deep within the Amazon and is willing to pay generously. The mention of money immediately grabs Frank's attention. He invites her inside and she shows him her map. Still pretending to be Nilo, Frank warns her that the destination is extremely dangerous. Curious about the map, he asks where she found it. Lily avoids the question, saying only that it is an ancient and reliable map inherited from her father, who spent years telling her stories about the Tears of the Moon. Frank laughs and jokingly suggests she find a different adventure instead. While speaking, Lily notices a box Frank has been trying to open. She quickly realizes he intends to steal the key inside, but she casually opens the box herself. Frank is impressed by her cleverness and decides he wants the job. He takes Lily to a restaurant to discuss terms. While they argue about the price, Bill suddenly arrives with the real Nilo. Lily immediately realizes Frank deceived her. Annoyed, she prepares to leave. Before she goes, Frank notices the arrowhead hanging around her neck. The moment he sees it, his interest grows dramatically. Now determined to become her guide, he repeatedly lowers his price, insisting that nobody knows the river better than he does. Their discussion is interrupted when a jaguar suddenly enters the restaurant. Nilo hides in terror while Frank steps forward to protect Lily and Bill. After a tense confrontation, he tosses a piece of meat outside and successfully lures the jaguar away. Seeing how calmly Frank handles the situation earns Lily's trust. She immediately hires him as their guide. Later, Frank arrives at the docks to pick them up. However, new trouble arises. Local mercenaries working for Joachim kidnap Lily. At the same time, Frank and Bill steal away in the boat while avoiding Nilo's men. Fortunately, Lily quickly escapes her captors through a combination of clever tricks and determination. After a chaotic chase through the settlement, she reunites with Frank and Bill, and they finally set off on their journey. The moment Joachim learns that Lily has escaped, he orders his hidden submarine to surface. He is determined to reach the Tears of the Moon before anyone else, believing its power could help Germany win World War I. His submarine immediately attacks Frank's boat. When gunfire fails to stop them, Joachim launches a torpedo. Their destruction seems inevitable, but Frank skillfully maneuvers the boat at the last second, narrowly avoiding disaster. Moments later, the submarine's propeller becomes tangled in a massive rope, dragging the vessel toward the docks. The collision destroys many of Nilo's boats, while Frank, Lily, and Bill finally escape deeper into the Amazon. As the journey continues, Bill struggles with the intense heat, while Lily enjoys every moment. Fascinated by the strange wildlife surrounding them, she constantly records videos with her camera. Frank becomes curious about the device and eventually starts experimenting with it himself. Gradually, a subtle connection begins forming between Frank and Lily. Eventually, Lily suggests taking a different route. Although it is far more dangerous, it could shorten their journey considerably. Frank strongly opposes the idea and repeatedly warns her about the risks. When she refuses to back down, he reluctantly agrees. That night, Frank anchors the boat so the engine can rest. Bill goes to sleep while Frank and Lily remain on deck talking. As they spend time together, they begin learning more about one another. Their conversation is interrupted when Bill encounters a jaguar named Proxima. Terrified, he freezes. To his surprise, Frank casually calls the animal over, and instead of attacking, it affectionately licks Bill's face. Lily is shocked to discover that the jaguar is actually Frank's pet. Feeling deceived, she becomes angry, believing Frank has been manipulating her trust from the very beginning. Meanwhile, Joachim changes his own plans. Instead of continuing the chase directly, he decides to locate Sam and his cursed companions, believing they are the only ones who can lead him to the Tears of the Moon. Eventually, he reaches the place where Sam and his men were imprisoned centuries earlier. There, Joachim pours river water over Sam's stone body. Moments later, 2 snakes emerge from it. To Joachim's surprise, the snakes are actually part of Sam himself and allow him to communicate. The two strike a deal. Joachim agrees to help recover the arrowhead, and in return, Sam promises to guide him to the magical tree. After swearing to the agreement, Joachim frees Sam and his cursed companions from their imprisonment. The next morning, Frank, Lily, and Bill arrive at one of the Amazon's most dangerous waterways. Massive currents threaten to destroy their boat at every turn. Despite the danger, Lily insists they continue along the risky route. At one point, the boat nearly plunges down a deadly drop. Everyone braces for disaster, but Frank manages to regain control and steer them safely into calmer water. Only then can they finally breathe again. Later, while Frank and Bill gather wood for the engine, Bill explains why he joined Lily on such a dangerous expedition, despite not being adventurous at all. He reveals that when he realized he was gay, Lily was the only member of the family who stood by him. Because of her unwavering support, he would follow her anywhere. While they are away, Lily secretly searches Frank's cabin and discovers old maps and documents connected to the Tears of the Moon. When Frank returns, she confronts him about them. Believing he has been hiding something, Lily accuses him of searching for the tree himself. Frank admits that she is right. Long ago, finding the Tears of the Moon was also his goal. Like countless others, he came to the Amazon seeking its power, but never succeeded. Before he can explain further, the local tribe Frank secretly pays to entertain tourists suddenly appears and stages another performance. Frank acts as a translator between Lily and the tribe's chief. The act continues until Lily begins asking too many serious questions, forcing the chief to drop the charade. Lily then asks about the symbols carved into the arrowhead. The chief explains that anyone seeking the tears of the moon must turn water into stone and repair a broken heart. He also reveals that the magical flower blooms only during the rare crying moon, an event expected to occur in just 2 days. According to the tribe, the path to the tree can be found by following a serpent that bites its own tail. Hearing this, Lily suddenly remembers seeing the same symbol on her map. She quickly locates it and becomes convinced that she can reach the destination without Frank's help. Confident she now has all the information she needs, she pays him the remainder of his fee. That night, however, the village is attacked by Sam and the other cursed conquistadors. Their only objective is to obtain the arrowhead. The battle quickly spreads across the village. Frank, Bill, and Lily each find themselves fighting different attackers. During the chaos, one of the conquistadors snatches the arrowhead from Lily and delivers it to Sam. The moment Sam gets his hands on it, he attempts to flee. Frank intercepts him, and a fierce fight breaks out. During the struggle, Sam stabs Frank. Even so, before falling through the trees below, Frank manages to reclaim the arrowhead and throw it back to Lily. Meanwhile, the tribe's chief rescues Lily and Bill and leads them to safety. She warns Lily to stay out of sight of the river because the cursed conquistadors cannot travel beyond its boundaries. Lily tries to escape, but Sam's snakes catch her and wrap around her body before Sam can reach her. The jungle itself drags him and his companions back toward the river, preventing them from leaving its influence. Once the conquistadors recover, they realize they can no longer reach Lily on their own. Their only option is to work with Joachim. One of Sam's companions sends his enchanted bees to locate the prince and inform him of their situation. The following morning, Lily is surprised to see Frank alive and apparently unharmed. When Bill and the chief arrive, however, they notice the knife still lodged deep in Frank's back. With no way to hide the truth anymore, Frank finally confesses that he was once one of Sam's conquistadors. Before he can explain everything, Lily is forced to pull the knife out of his body. To everyone's shock, removing the blade causes him absolutely no harm. Bill immediately faints. Later, after reviving him, Lily says goodbye to Bill and decides to continue the rest of the journey alone with Frank. At the same time, the enchanted bees reach Joachim's submarine. He allows them inside, and one of them reveals the arrowhead's location on a map. The conversation astonishes Joachim's crew, but the prince now has exactly the information he needs. As Frank and Lily continue traveling together, he finally tells her the truth about his past. 400 years earlier, he had been Sam's closest friend. He joined the expedition because Sam desperately wanted to save his dying daughter. Frank served as the expedition's mapmaker, and the map Lily inherited was originally created by him. Together, they traveled deep into the Amazon, searching for the tears of the moon. Everything changed when Frank witnessed how far Sam was willing to go. After the tribe saved their lives, Sam intended to kill the chief's daughter to obtain the arrowhead. Unable to allow such cruelty, Frank stopped him. During the confrontation, the girl escaped with the arrowhead. As the tribe's chief lay dying, she cursed Sam and all of his men. Years passed, and Frank repeatedly clashed with Sam. Eventually, he succeeded in trapping Sam and his companions inside a cave where the jungle could not drag them back to the river. Over the next 3 centuries, the curse twisted their bodies into monstrous forms. Lily listens carefully before asking Frank how he spent all those centuries. Frank explains that he founded the very town where she first met him. Over the years, he made countless friends and watched them grow old and die. Eventually, he resumed his search for the tears of the moon, built his boat, and spent years exploring every corner of the river. After countless failures, he gave up and became a tour guide instead. Along the way, he also adopted many big cats, which explains his fondness for jaguars like Proxima. Meanwhile, Joachim finally catches up to Bill aboard his submarine. He captures him and forces him to reveal the location of the tears of the moon. With no choice, Bill points it out on the map. Once Joachim has the information, he immediately kills the enchanted bees to prevent Sam from learning the location as well. As Frank and Lily continue their journey, Frank reveals what he plans to do if he ever obtains a petal from the magical flower. He says he will finally have two choices before him, and he intends to choose the path that brings him true peace. The next day, they arrive at a section of the river where no obvious path forward exists. Lily realizes this may be the place mentioned in the Arrowhead prophecy, where water must become stone. Frank dives beneath the surface and discovers an ancient chamber containing a lever. After returning, he tells Lily that she must activate it because he is too large to fit inside. Unfortunately, Lily cannot swim. Despite her fear, Frank convinces her that they have no other option. Together, they descend underwater and enter the ancient structure. Inside, Lily reaches the lever and pulls it. The moment she does, the chamber seals shut around her. Panicking, she begins running out of air. Frank reaches her and gives her some of his air with a kiss, allowing her to continue. Gathering her courage, Lily pulls the lever completely. At the same time, Frank is attacked by a swarm of piranhas. Slowly, the water begins draining from the entire area. Until the water fully empties, Lily remains trapped. When Frank finally reaches her, he believes she is drowned. Then suddenly, her eyes open. The first thing she does is slap him for leaving her behind. As they recover and change clothes, they realize they have finally discovered the true location of the Tears of the Moon. Unfortunately, they are not alone. As the remaining water drains away, Joachim appears with Bill as his prisoner. Things become even worse when one surviving enchanted beast secretly follows them, learns the location, and returns to inform Sam and the other cursed conquistadors. Joachim steals the arrowhead from Lily and forces Frank to guide everyone deeper into the hidden cavern where the magical tree is said to exist. Joachim forces Frank to pilot the steamboat through the hidden cavern toward the location of the magical tree. But when they finally arrive, everyone is disappointed. The Tears of the Moon appears completely dead. The ancient tree looks lifeless, as though it has been dormant for centuries. Believing Lily understands the secrets of the tree better than anyone, Joachim orders her to make it bloom. Lily refuses. Frank then offers to help, but only if he receives one petal from the flower in return. Joachim agrees, though he keeps Bill as a hostage to ensure their cooperation. Frank takes the arrowhead and begins searching for clues. When he struggles to make progress, Joachim forces Lily to assist him. Working together, Frank and Lily finally uncover the truth about the artifact. The arrowhead was never actually an arrowhead. It is a heart. Following the instructions hidden within its markings, they carefully break it apart and discover a magical piece concealed inside. They place this piece into a stone structure while fitting the two halves of the heart into their proper positions. The moment everything aligns, the ancient mechanism activates. Moonlight from the rare crying moon pours into the cavern, and the dormant tree begins to awaken. Slowly, glowing vines spread through its branches. Then, before everyone's eyes, the Tears of the Moon bursts into full bloom, covered with magnificent flowers. But the instant the tree comes back to life, Lily suddenly shoots Frank. The bullet sends him falling into the depths below. At the same time, Joachim orders his men to harvest every petal they can before the crying moon ends. However, Frank survives the fall. He quickly fights his way through Joachim's soldiers and manages to free Bill. With the help of Proxima the jaguar, they retake control of the steamboat. Meanwhile, Lily climbs the magical tree in a desperate attempt to reach one of its precious flowers. Time is running out. The crying moon is rapidly fading, and once it ends, the opportunity will be lost forever. Racing against the clock, she climbs higher and higher. At the last possible moment, she successfully plucks a single petal from the Tears of the Moon. Unfortunately, her victory is short-lived. The branch beneath her gives way, and she falls directly into Joachim's hands. Holding her at gunpoint, he demands the petal and threatens both her and Bill. Before he can take it, however, the entire tree begins collapsing around them. To save herself, Lily drops the petal and grabs Joachim as the structure crumbles. Elsewhere, Frank manages to catch the falling petal before it disappears. But another threat arrives. Sam and the cursed conquistadors finally reach the cavern. Without hesitation, they attack Joachim and kill him. Their attention then turns to Lily. Before they can reach her, Frank holds up the petal and deliberately draws their focus toward himself. Knowing they want the flower more than anything else, he lures them away from Lily and Bill. Frank leaves Bill in a safe location and orders Proxima to remain behind and protect both siblings. Then he pilots the steamboat directly toward an ancient stone monument deep within the cavern. The conquistadors pursue him relentlessly, battling him across the boat as they attempt to seize the petal. Frank fights each of them one by one, buying as much time as possible. Eventually, only Sam remains. Once again, Sam demands the petal. That is when the truth is revealed. Frank never had the real petal. The genuine petal is actually with Bill, who intends to give it to Lily. At that exact moment, the steamboat crashes into the ancient monument. The impact changes everything. The collision blocks the flow of river water entering the cavern. Since the cursed conquistadors can only survive while connected to the river, the jungle immediately reclaims them. Unable to reach the river again, Sam and his men are transformed back into stone. Unfortunately, Frank is trapped with them. The curse affects him as well, turning him into a stone statue. Sometime later, Lily arrives and finds Frank frozen forever. Heartbroken, she decides to use the precious petal on him. Doing so means sacrificing her dream of using the flower to help humanity and cure diseases around the world. But she chooses Frank anyway. She places the petal on him. Nothing happens. With no other option, Lily and Bill eventually leave. Proxima remains behind, faithfully waiting for her owner. Then, sometime later, Lily hears Proxima roaring loudly. She turns around. To her astonishment, Frank is alive. The petal has finally worked. Overjoyed, Lily runs straight into his arms. As they celebrate, they discover that the magical tree has left behind one final petal for them. Sometime later, everyone returns to civilization. Frank says goodbye to Nilo and leaves the Amazon behind for the first time in centuries. Free from his curse, he finally travels to London with Lily. Their adventures are over, they are finally together, and Proxima the jaguar remains by their side as part of their family.